Friends, Romans, countrymen, welcome back to another video slash podcast. Yes, it's on both YouTube and the podcast today. I'm very excited to tell you that we are going to be doing a record prediction for every single MLB team. Now, along with that, in the coming few weeks, I'll be doing some rebuilds with specific teams. I'm thinking like the Orioles will go first. Definitely every lower team that we have. I'm very interested to do the Royals, very interested to do the Orioles. The Marlins are another big one that I want to do. Diamondbacks. So those are the big four that I want to do rebuilds for. Any other teams you want to see rebuilds for, you guys just leave a comment down below. I will try to respond to it to the best of my ability. With that being said, let's get right in to the video. So for those of you on the YouTube side of things, we're going to be just doing this tier list style. I'll give you my exact predictions, but I will be just kind of going through this kind of like a tier list just so I can make it a little bit more simple for myself. With that being said, we're going to go through this division by division. It is all in order if some of you are cheating, which I'm going to try to block it to the best of my ability. We're going to start in the American League, and we're going to be starting in the American League East. And I do have the Toronto Blue Jays winning the AL East at a record of 97-65. Now, the Blue Jays, they last year went 91-71 in 2021. Some notable additions: Matt Chapman was a huge one, Kevin Gausman, Yusei Kikuchi. Those two are going to round out this stupidly good rotation that already had Hinge and Ryu, Jose Barrios, and Alek Manoah. Vladdy's on this team. They lose Simeon. That's a pretty big one. They also lose the AL Cy Young and Robbie Ray, but they added so much to this team that I think that it all just kind of evens out. This team is going to be very good. Now, the next thing, second place, I have the Rays. The Rays, I have them going 95-67, and here's why. While, yes, they have their Rays magic, they did lose some pieces, and really the only person they brought back, and they didn't bring back anybody, the only person that they really brought in was Corey Kluber. Now, he's going to be good as a Ray, because he really does fit their scheme. He's a good pitcher. Glasnow is going to be out for a little bit longer, because he has that TJ we all know about. But I don't know. Something about it, I feel like they're going to come out and they're going to win the division. But at the same time, the stats, this was very statistic driven. My decisions, I used a lot of different stats that went into this. The Blue Jays, I really like the Blue Jays here to win the division. Rays a very close second, just 2 games behind them. And then just a whopping 3 games behind them, I got the Red Sox. Now, they really didn't lose a ton. They lost their pitcher Rodriguez. They bring in a guy, Trevor Story. Paxton they bring in. And really just some solid moves are made. Trevor Story is a huge one to play second base for them. Great glove, great power. Hopefully we'll be able to hit it over that monster there in left field. But Red Sox 92-70 is what I have them penciled in here in this simulation in my predictions here. I want to go through one more thing, is that I did make this evenly perfect so that every win that every team has is going to add up to the exact number of wins that is possible in a season. So I'm not just like giving every team 90 wins, for example. Like, that's not possible for every team to be a 90-win team, because you see you have to have the same amount of wins as you do losses in a single season. So what I did was I made it perfectly even. If you could add up all the win totals here. I put them all on a doc. It's all perfectly drawn out for this one. Next up, we got the Yankees. Now, I have them in the 4th place position here in the AL East with a 91-71 record. They brought in Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. They trade away Gary Sanchez. They trade away Gio Urshela. I forget the name of the catcher who came in is going to be with them, but they lose Rougned Odor, who is a pretty nice bench piece from what I remember from them. Pretty solid lefty bat. Struck out quite a bit, but the Yankees, they're still going to be good. Elite bullpen. Garrett Cole, their pitching really did carry them when they were struggling last year. They're able to bring back Anthony Rizzo to be their first baseman. They trade away Luke Voit. I think that's their biggest mistake of this offseason, because while, yes, you brought back Anthony Rizzo and you have Stanton to play DH, there is an outfield spot that really is a hole right now. So if you were able to put out, like, Stanton in the outfield where he needs to be, then you have an elite outfield of Stanton, Judge, Gallo. Judge is perfectly fine in center field. You put Stanton in right field, in that short right field, it'll be much better for him because he won't have as much space that he really needs to move. But Voit was a big mistake for the Yankees, but I really do like where this team is, and I'll get to my playoff predictions in a different video based on these record predictions. But that being said, probably the best division in all of baseball, if I'm being honest. How even it is. Yankees 91-71, perfectly respectable record. Next up, we got the Orioles, and this one's really kind of expected. I got them going 60 and 102. They're really just playing for the future. I know they say this every year, but they really, this time, they do have a really bright future. As long as they don't get rid of Cedric Mullins, they've got Mountcastle, they have Mancini, they've got Rushman, who's going to be coming up, a couple more prospects who are huge for them. I did a top 10 prospects video, linked in the description or up in that card section right now, up there. But this team has a perfectly fine future. 60 to 102 this year. They're going to struggle. I'm going to do this team as my first rebuild. Might record that tonight. I'm not completely sure. But make sure you stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a like on this video. I truly would appreciate it. But the Orioles, 60 and 102. Rushman is really going to be the prized possession of this team. And Mountcastle, I do like Mountcastle. He's probably my favorite out of him, Mancini, Mullins. Mancini, great DH player. Mullins, now I just said that they wouldn't trade him away. He would be one of those guys who is perfect for trading away right now. Not right now. Like a year or two down the road from now, if they're not winning in like 3 years from now, 2 or 3 years from now, they're not winning. Mullins is still playing really well. I think that if they're already going to be planning for the future, I think it's really smart to trade him away for some even more prospects. They could get a load back for him. I mean, his stats this year were absolutely ridiculous, so it's not crazy to think that this team could get a large return for Mullins back in a trade. We're going to be moving to the AL Central next. I've got the Chicago White Sox getting this first place. I have them going 95 and 67 here. Now, this one was a little bit tough because they did just trade away Craig Kimbrell. They got back a player in, was it Hosmer? I'm trying to remember this now. I'm sorry. This one was with the Dodgers. They get back A.J. Pollock, a guy who they really needed in that outfield to help Luis Robert, to help Eloy Jimenez back there. Jimenez might be out for a little bit longer. Love Robert. This lineup is scary. Abreu, Anderson, Grandal is a walk machine. You have Jimenez over in there. Yermin Mercedes has come up. He has looked okay while he's been up here. They trade away Nick Madrigal last year, as we know, their prized rookie. But this team is in a really good spot. Brought in Kendall Graveman this offseason. As we just talked about, they have Pollock. Really nice team. And by the way, they have maybe the best reliever in all of baseball, and Kyle Hendricks. They lose Carlos Rodon. You still got Giolito. You still got Lynn. And this team is still looking very spiffy as we talk about them right now. The next team I got is the Detroit Tigers. I have them at a perfect 500, 81 and 81 record. This past year, this team went 77 and 85. Torkelson is going to be coming up. He's their really big prospect for this team. Akil Baddoo had a really good start last year, fell off a little bit. Jonathan Scope is an absolute stud. What can Miggy Cavs bring to this team? They bring in Rodriguez from the Red Sox to help the starting rotation. Spencer Turnbull, he's an X factor. He was really good last year. But this Tigers team is really going to depend on how well is this hitting going to go. They bring in Javi Baez to really help with that, and that was looking like that was going to be the piece that brought in Carlos Correa. Now, they didn't. Obviously, this team we're getting to next did bring in Carlos Correa, but I really like this Tigers team. I really like their future and a couple of really nice prospects that are going to be coming up for this team. So 81 and 81 this year, could definitely be contending for a playoff spot in the next few years. They have Javi for like 6 or something like that, so they got plenty of time. Right after that, I have the same record, the Minnesota Twins. Now, yes, I just didn't really have an order. It's just they're tied, 81 and 81. Twins bring in Carlos Correa. Twins bring in Sonny Gray. They get Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, flip him and Josh Donaldson to the Yankees, take the guy who the Yankees wanted to get in Correa, screw him over because they got rid of Sanchez and they got rid of Urshela, took on Donaldson's contract, couldn't get Freddie Freeman. I mean, the Twins absolutely screwed over the New York Yankees. I forgot to talk about Josh Donaldson with the Yankees, but getting rid of Josh Donaldson's contract is absolutely huge for this Twins team. They don't have to worry about that. They get Carlos Correa, who's got an option opt-out every single year. This team is looking really nice. If they need to flip him at the trade deadline, which is very possible, if this team's not at a perfect state and Correa wants to trade, you know how many prospects they can get back for this guy? I mean, it is absolutely ginormous. They lose a guy in Andrelton Simmons. We know this. Gregory Polanco was really, really nice for them last year. Byron Buxton, we already know, had a solid year. A 5-tool baseball player, incredible athlete. But this Twins team brought in Sonny Gray, as we just talked about. But they were able to have the offseason of a lifetime. And really the only thing keeping them back is that they were not very good last year. Last year, they brought in a record of 73 and 89. Really terrible start. I know, terrible start. But the Twins, they were able to have a great offseason. And I think that's going to help them get to an 81 and 81 average record this year. Next up, we have the Kansas City Royals. Now, the Royals finished 74 and 88. Last year, we already know they have Bobby Witt Jr. coming up there, probably the #1 prospect in baseball right now. He already got called up, I know, in the past couple of days, but I think that this team is actually going to be a 68-win team. 68 and 94 is what I have them penciled in here at. Now, they have Salvi Perez, they have Whit Merrifield, they have Carlos Santana. They brought back Zach Greinke to finish his career there. I think it's really just inconsistency. They're not deep at all hitting, and their pitching is mad inconsistent. It is really inconsistent. And this team just, and Andrew Benintendi is there. He's really good defensively. His bat is okay. But this Royals team, just inconsistency is really what kept them back. I expect them to regress because I think they're going to flip pieces at the deadline. But the Royals always get off to a good start, by the way. They always do. But I don't know. I don't like the Royals for this year. I'm going to go over, maybe I'll go for some like players that I expect to break out this year, but I don't know. Next up, we got the Guardians. Sorry about this logo. This is just an all MLB teams tier list, but we got the Guardians coming up next. I got them as the last place team in this. I have them finishing with a very bad season, 65 and 97. Now, I was kind of surprised to see that this team actually finished 80 and 82 in 2021. There are a couple of assumptions I'm making. I expect Jose Ramirez to be flipped because they're not going to pay him. He's a free agent after this year and next year. He needs to be flipped. Like, you cannot keep him here. He might force his way out. I don't really know. But Franmil Reyes is really the only other guy there. Rosario. Ahmad Rosario is a very good player who is there. You got two good pitchers and possibly a third. You have Bieber. You got Plesac, who I really do like, not just because he's on my fantasy baseball team on the channel. If you guys want to go check out that series, it's up there as well. I've really been enjoying that. And then you have Tristan McKenzie, huge X factor, who had a solid season as a rookie last year. But this team has solid pitching, starting pitching. Bullpen is okay. They've got Jose Ramirez, Franmil Reyes, Rosario, and I don't know, Miles Straw. Is that their next best hitter? It's just not deep. I think that it's very possible for them to win a lot more games than this now because I'm looking at what their record was last year at 80 and 82. But I expect Ramirez to be flipped. I think Reyes could very well be flipped, especially because you have a National League DH. Reyes could be flipped before the year actually starts. I don't really know. But Rosario could be flipped. I don't really know. This team is really just a question. I put them very low because I don't think they're going to be very good this year. Moving on. The AL West is next. We got a very interesting team. Very interesting fight. This might be the most interesting, one of the most interesting divisions in all baseball. I do have the Astros still taking first place here, 93 and 69. I believe that is 4 wins lower than what they had last year. Last year it looks like they were 95 and 67, so 2 wins below last year. They lose Carlos Correa, we already know. That's huge. They have a shortstop in the organization, the minor league farm system, who they're really high on, who they're looking to bring in to replace him. Lose Zach Greinke, it's a starter, but they got Justin Verlander back. That's very big for them. This team is going to make the playoffs, okay? Very deep. If you just look around that infield, Yuli Gurriel, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman is still there. That outfield, Michael Brantley, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez is absolutely ginormous. Behind the dish, I don't know if he's still there. Martin Maldonado is a respectable player behind the dish. Pitching, you still have Lance McCullers Jr. Lance McCullers Jr. is still there. Justin Verlander is still there, and they're gonna have guys like Framber Valdez is a very solid piece, especially during the regular season. Jose Urquidy is a guy who they're going to have. They lose Kendall Graveman. It is a very kind of a big blow. I believe that's where he came from. It's a kind of a big blow to their bullpen, but this Astros team is going to be very solid once again. I have them penciled in, as I said, 93 wins. Very respectable. The next team, I got the Seattle Mariners. I got them reaching 91, 2 games behind the Astros. 91 wins, I believe, replicates last year, if I'm not mistaken. No, okay. So they were 90 and 72 last year. This year they're going to be 91 and 71. This team is really interesting to me. They add Robbie Ray, lose Yusei Kikuchi. Robbie Ray probably is better than Yusei Kikuchi. Kikuchi really, this past year was his best year in the majors, and it was like a 4.4 ERA, I believe. So nothing spectacular from Yusei Kikuchi. Robbie Ray is a Cy Young. They add another guy. They add Adam Frazier, which is, I don't know. He was really, a lot of guys were kind of wanted to put him down last year. He was in top 7 in hits, I believe, even though he missed a lot of time in the middle of the season. Was an all-star last year. They add him. They get 2 huge pieces. Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez to round out that infield. They've got J.P. Crawford. They have Ty France. They have Mitch Haniger, who, by the way, hit 40 dingers last year. This team is loaded. Loaded on the top. Are they deep? Probably not, though. Their pitching definitely needs to patch up some holes. But this team, I think, has the potential to be very, very good this year. 91 wins just because I don't know about their pitching yet. Robbie Ray is really the only guy there right now. So I'm going to pencil them in. I'm going to put them in at a 91 win team. Moving on to the Rangers. I have them in the 3rd place. I have them going 80 and 82, so that's going to put them here in the middle tier. This one's really tough. Obviously, best middle infield in all baseball, Seager, Semien. You add those 2 guys. Brad Miller was on the Phillies. Really, really liked him. He's a very solid player. He could be your everyday first baseman, if I'm being honest. Rhys Hoskins got hurt last year. He came in ridiculously serviceable for the Phillies. I believe he hit 20 dingers himself, 70 RBIs or so in a limited amount of time. The thing is, he's more built to be a bench player. I think Backyard Brad gets flipped halfway through the season, if I'm being real. They bring in some more guys. John Gray is going to have a phenomenal season in Texas. Goes from Coors Field, where he had a fantastic year, comes into Texas, which is a very pitcher-friendly ballpark. I think he could post a sub-3 ERA, if I'm being real with you. John Gray is very, very good. Other people that they have on this team, Adolis Garcia. Very, very nice player. Now, pitching is going to be the question mark of this team. I'm still not sure about the pitching. With all these nice moves, not really sure. They get Mitch Garver behind the plate now, and he's very, very good. Especially defensively, he's very, very good. Offensively, needs to tighten up the bat, but this team, much improved. Last year, if we look at their record from last year, this team went 60 and 102 last year. That's a 20-game difference. That's probably some of the best that I have projected here. And I really like the Rangers this season. But I think it's going to take them a little bit to get to the playoffs. And they've got plenty of time. Obviously, at least 7 years, with Simeon's contract being 7 years and Seager's being 10. So this team is set up for the future. Very, very, very. Moving on next, we got the LA Angels. I got them coming in with a record this year also of 80 and 82. Now, this team is much improved as well. We already know best 2 players probably in all of baseball, Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. They're both on this team. I mean, 2 ridiculous players, 2 generational talents. Trout might be one of the best that we've ever seen play the game of baseball. Ohtani, he's not there yet. Had a very good 2021, we already know. But probably not not even close to the status where Trout is right now. Anthony Rendon, kind of an X factor on this team. He's been injured. I don't really like the guy because I think he got paid too much coming out of Washington. But this team made some huge improvements in the pitching department. They add Noah Syndergaard to that rotation, which is going to be scary, especially if he can be just as good as he was before. Then they add Aaron Loup to the bullpen. Aaron Loup was quietly probably the best reliever in the league last year. He had, I think, a 1.05 ERA as a reliever. That is crazy. That is ridiculous. So, some really big additions for this team. We already know they have Fletcher, they have Walsh, and they still have a couple of really nice players out there. It's just really going to come down to me, how healthy is Mike Trout going to stay this year, and is Shohei Ohtani going to repeat what he did last year? The pitching, you say all you want, but this team actually has a chance to go out and compete for a playoff spot. I just think, I don't know, I kind of am expecting Trout to get injured almost kind of here, just because, that's kind of stupid to say, I know. It's just that, like, I expect someone important to get hurt somewhere along the way. It just seems to happen to this team all the time. So, I do like this Angels team. I like a lot of teams, I will say. I like a lot of teams' chances. I think that the whole league is just getting more even and even and even as it goes on. But Angels are definitely a team that I'm going to like. I'm going to see a Angels-Dodgers game this year, so that'll be very, very fun. Last place in the division, I've got the Oakland Athletics. 65-97. It's bad, guys. It really is bad. It's just they trade away Olsen, they trade away Chapman, they trade away Bassett. They're expected to trade away Frankie Montas coming up soon. And they got some nice prospects in return, I won't lie, especially in the Olsen trade. Christian Pache is definitely one of the better prospects in the whole entire league right now. So, Oakland, they get back a nice return, but it's not going to add up. You lose your three best players, and you're about to lose your fourth best player. So, it's just kind of heart-tearing if you're an A's fan. I mean, Moneyball, we already know how this team works. They like to sell everybody, and they like guys who get on base. So it's just, I don't know. This team doesn't have much. They don't have much left, so they want to spend as little as they possibly can, and they really were the epitome of what was going on in this lockout. So Oakland Athletics, I've got them finishing with a whopping 65-97 record after going 86-76 last year. Moving on to the National League, where it's going to be a absolute bloodbath in the National League. Now, you got a lot of teams close to 90 wins in the AL. It's going to be bloodbath in the National League when it comes down to it. Might get a game 163. I don't know if it's possible anymore. It might have been part of the new CBA. But we're going to be starting off here in the NL East. The Atlanta Braves, I 100% expect the defending world champions to be first in this division. I think they're going to go 94-68. This is still a very respectable team. They lose Freddie, but guess what? They add the younger version of him in Matt Olson. They add Kenley Jansen. They add Alex Dickerson to be a nice bench piece who might play outfield for them. They bring back Eddie Rosario. They do lose Jorge Soler. They've got Duvall, who is an absolute monster. If Riley can repeat his success, that's going to be a big question. This infield is still monstrously good. This outfield is still even more monstrously good. Travis d'Arnaud, by the way, might be one of my favorite players in all the league. I don't know what it is. I'm a Phillies fan. Hate the Braves. Love Travis d'Arnaud. Then this rotation. Max Fried, Ian Anderson, Charlie Morton, and even Huascar Ynoa was really good. I mean, really good when he was healthy. Then he I think he punched something, broke his finger, and he was kind of done after that. But Huascar Ynoa was fantastic last year. And this team is going to be scary. And by the way, they added Kenley Jansen to an already really, really good bullpen. So, Will Smith, Luke Jackson, Kenley Jansen. It's going to be unfair. This team is going to be hard to take down. It's just that their rivals got significantly better this year. And I know it was really close last year. Phillies were very close to them. I think they finished 3 games behind, but I mean, this was really tough. This was really kind of tough for me to do. I'm a Phillies fan. I don't want my bias to get in the way, but it's just kind of tough for me to rank this division especially. That being said, next up, I have a tie. I just have them first in here in this list, but the Phillies, I have them going what looks to be 90 and 72. So getting to 90 wins for the first time in a long time. Is it going to be enough to make the playoffs? Well, we're just gonna have to see. This team, we already know, super top heavy. Harper, Hoskins, Real Muto, Segura, I think is very, very good. Probably top 5 in his position. And then after that, where do we go to? I mean, Herrera was going to leave. McCutchen did leave. We got, other than that, third base, ginormous hole. Didi Gregorius at shortstop, terrible defense. Now, we know this team is going to be abysmal at defense. Absolutely terrible. If I could just break this down player by player for you. If we go in the outfield, we go left field, probably going to be Castellanos most of the year. Castellanos, I think he's below average. I haven't really seen him field much, but from what I've heard, definitely below average glove. Go to center field. Odubel Herrera is going to be playing center field. Now, funny thing is, Odubel is actually very good with his glove. So having a good glove in center field is very important, and he robs people constantly. He's quietly an underrated defensive player. Go to right field, Bryce Harper. Love the man to death. He's average at best with his glove. I'm sorry. He just, especially last year, I saw a few games with him in it, and every single game he made a crucial mistake in the outfield on just a routine fly ball, turning himself around in a ton. I mean, there was a Pirates game where he missed 2 fly balls in the same inning, I think it was. It was crazy. Over to the infield, Rhys Hoskins, abysmal at defense at first base. Go to second base, Segura. He's very good. He is underratedly very good. I mean, rocket cannon of an arm. He makes diving plays all the time. Very underrated. Didi Gregorius might be the worst shortstop defensively in the whole entire league. He's very bad. Alec Boehm, who's probably going to be the third baseman. I don't know. Not very good. I want to add a note that Mickey Moniak is probably going to compete for the center fielder job, especially because Odubel Herrera is going to be injured, so he might be starting in center field. He's had a very good spring training. Mickey Moniak actually hit 2 dingers earlier today in a game. But the other X factor is Bryson Stott. So is he going to come up? Is he going to play third base? We don't really know. We haven't talked about Kyle Schwarber yet. He's going to be this team's DH, mostly probably lefty bat. This team is so balanced when it comes righty-lefty. If we look at it, Hoskins, Realmuto, Segura, some of the big righty bats, Castellanos, righty bat, some of the big lefty bats, Gregorius, Harper, Schwarber, those are your big lefty bats. So Odubel Herrera is a lefty bat. Mickey Moniak, I think his switch might be just right. But other than that, I mean, this team, very, very nice balanced. Hoskins, right-handed bat. But love this team. I do really... I like the improvements they made to the bullpen. Brad Hand was not very good last year, but he's going to do something for this team. I think that the Phillies hit 3 walk-offs off of him last year, which is kind of funny, but they bring in Jeurys Familia, who I really liked last year on the Mets. They bring in a guy in Corey Knebel, who didn't really play last year, but in the past he's been very, very good. So a couple of nice finds here for the Phillies. I like this team. 90 and 72 is probably what I'm going to go for. Next up, the Mets. I got them also finishing at a 90 and 72 record. Excuse me. This team was already good. We look at this at the infield. We got Alonso, McNeil, Lindor, and probably VR. VR leaves, so we go to J.D. Davis. That's the infield. In the outfield, we go Dominic Smith. We go Brandon Nimmo, Michael Conforto. Conforto has not officially left yet. That's what's crazy. He is not signed yet. As far as I've seen, if there's some sort of news right now, then I'm going to lose my mind. But he has not been signed. So yeah, Michael Conforto is still there, and he could come. Yeah, this team added Starling Marte. They added Starling Marte. They have Mark Canha to add to that outfield. So now your outfield is going like this. Canha left, Nimmo center, Marte and right. And you could probably change Nimmo and Marte as much as you possibly want. Eduardo Escobar is added to that infield. And now left to right, Escobar, Lindor, McNeil, Alonso. That is some offensive firepower. Not to mention that McNeil and Lindor are two of the best defensive middle infielders in all of baseball, if I'm being honest right now. And Marte is a stolen base machine. He is a 900 OPS guy, and he was really their big guy. But then we move to the pitching side of things, and this is where it gets kind of crazy. This team goes out, signs the biggest annual money contract in the history of the MLB. They get Max Scherzer. Now, this deal didn't make too much sense to me for Max Scherzer on the fact of this. Yes, he got paid the money. That makes a ton of sense, okay? I heard that one of the teams he counted out was the Phillies because they were a rival to the Nationals, but he goes to the Mets, who were arguably a bigger rival to the Nationals. I'm not really sure. I think he probably didn't want to come to Philly because Bryce was there, and he might have had a bad taste left in his mouth with Bryce, but did not want to come to Philly. That's all I know. So I don't know, man. It did not make a ton of sense to me. But otherwise, great move for the Mets to get Max Scherzer. They trade for Chris Bassett. Is a huge move for them. They get their number 3 or 4 starters. So they're 1 through 4. Scherzer, DeGrom is your number 2. You know that you're ridiculous. Or Scherzer your number 2, regardless. Bassett 3. Bassett was the number 1 on the A's, who were an okay pitching rotation, and he's going to be like the number 4 on the Mets now. Taijuan Walker goes. Stroman is a loss for them as well. Aaron Loop is a big loss for them. Familia. So their bullpen kind of got torn up this offseason because guys just walked, but this team still has some nice pieces in that bullpen. They've got a nice, very nice rotation. The lineup's looking spiffy. It's all a matter of can they put it together. I mean, 2020, we were saying the same exact thing. Can this team do something? I mean, Robinson Cano is coming back. He's looked okay in spring training this year. So is he going to have a role on this team? We don't know. That contract's looking bad. Last year, we were saying something similar about this team, how they've got all this star power. Are they finally going to be able to put it together? We don't know. We're just going to have to see. I got them 90 wins tied with the Phillies. Coming up next, we got the Miami Marlins, who I have them this year going 77 and 85. Last year, this team went 67 and 95. So they're our first 70-plus win team. Miami, they traded away Duvall last year, obviously. They still got Aguilar, Chisholm, Rojas, and Brian Anderson. That's their infield. Solid infield. Garrett Cooper, probably going to play in the outfield. Jesus Sanchez, probably going to be in the outfield. And now they bring in a guy in Jorge Soler to be in their team. Sixto Sanchez, where is he? What is his role going to be on this team this year? We already know this team has a mad good pitching rotation. Pablo Lopez, Sandy Alcantara. They have Trevor Rogers. And then to add to that, they bring in Avisail Garcia to be an outfielder on this team. So this team is looking very nice. Joey Wendell is coming to play either third base or shortstop. So Brian Anderson's job might be done. We don't know. He's going to become a bench piece. This team is looking very nice. I really do like where this team is headed. I don't know about this year. I don't know. I think it's really tough because they have these 3 becoming juggernauts on this team in the Phillies, the Braves, and the Mets. So it's just going to be tough for them. 77 wins, respectable in a division like that. Next up, we got the Washington Nationals. They're going to be last and probably the second worst team in baseball. 57 wins and 105 losses. That's tough. This team is going to be interesting to watch. I mean, they bring in Nelson Cruz. I'm not really sure. They have Juan Soto, so you're actually going to see Juan Soto get more pitches to hit. They can put Cruz behind him. Carter Kieboom is a guy that I kind of like. I won't lie. Obviously, you're going to have your guy in Keibert Ruiz. He's your guy of the future. He's your catcher. But other than that, this team doesn't have a ton. Victor Robles is still there, I know, but this team just doesn't have a ton. It's just really tough to do anything with it. Corbin's kind of washed to me. Strasburg is there. What's he gonna do? I have no idea. But Nationals, it's just tough. And again, tough division. I don't really know how they're gonna be able to do in this, especially with the weak roster that they have. Moving on to the next division, the NL Central. Sorry about this logo, but the Milwaukee Brewers are going to be coming in at first with a 96-66 record. Last year they went 95-67, one game improvement. This team did get better. Trust me when I say they lost Avisail Garcia. I know. They bring in Hunter Renfroe, who they trade JBJ to the Red Sox and a prospect to take on his contract. Hunter Renfroe is infinitely better than JBJ. Hunter Renfroe is elite defensively, just like JBJ. But Hunter Renfroe mashes. Hunter Renfroe has the ability to go out and be a super solid hitter for you. So I love this move for Milwaukee. I heard that they were taking offers on Josh Hader, which was interesting to me, but nothing came out of it. Vogelbach left. He was just kind of a bench piece for this team. Travis Shaw, I don't like. Colton Wong, very solid player. Omar Narvaez behind the dish, very good. We go to the outfield. Yelich and Kane, two nice pieces. Is Yelich going to be able to bounce back? We still don't really know. But then we get to the pitching, and we know that's the strength of this team. You got Burns, Woodruff, Peralta. Super, super good rotation. Josh Hader in the bullpen. Obviously going to be able to close down your games. If you could have your pitchers pitch 6 and Hader pitch 2 or whatever, I mean, this team is mad good. They improved to me. I think you got to find another infielder really to be a World Series contender. I think they are going to want to find another infielder, but this team is looking very nice. Very nice, excuse me, very nice future ahead of them if they can get a bounce back from Yelly. Next up, we got the Cardinals. I have them going 90-72 as well this year. I'm telling you, this is going to be a bloodbath in the NL. We go here. We just got 90-96 win teams right here. The Cardinals, we already know, probably the best defensive team in all of baseball right now. They bring in Albert Pujols. They get Steven Matz as another pitcher. Now you got the Wainwright, Flaherty, Matz as your top 3. Alex Reyes, very solid closer to have on your team. Giovanni Gallegos, love him in the bullpen as well. And then we go to the lineup. Behind the dish, obviously it's going to be Yachty. In that infield, you're going to have Goldschmidt, Edman, DeYoung, Arenado, super great in the outfield. Bader and O'Neill in the outfield. That is elite, especially defensively. And O'Neill is very good with his bat. Bader could be better, but is still not terrible. I love this team. I love their roster. It's just they gotta go up against the Brewers. They gotta play teams like the Phillies. They gotta play. The NL is loaded. I think I say this again. The MLB is loaded. It's baseball. Baseball can go any way. You could get swept by the worst team in the league. It's really just tough to tell. I mean, the Dodgers, they were at a time where they got swept 3 series in a row, I think, or something like that. And they swept 2 4-game series in a row. It was to the Diamondbacks and the Rockies. So it's baseball. Anything can happen. This team could take a great bounce, get up there to the 100 wins if they really, like any of these teams. Any of these teams, just, I'm telling you, it's baseball. Anything can happen. Third place in the division is going to go to the Chicago Cubs. They're going to have a 73-89 record. Last year they go 71-91. And you're thinking, this team's going to go and try to win now. But not anymore. I don't know. They just didn't do enough. They bring in Andrelton Simmons. They bring in Yan Gomes. They bring in Jonathan VR. And that's really about it, if I'm being honest with you. Kyle Hendricks is in that rotation to be with Marcus Stroman. Patrick Wisdom, Ian Happ are 2 guys to be in that lineup. Jason Hayward is still there. I don't know if it's going to be enough. I'm skeptical, definitely skeptical about this team and how they're going to do, but definitely could be at an 80-win team, especially if they can trade for somebody. Next up, we got the Pittsburgh Pirates. I have them going 64-98 this year. It's another rebuilding year. I think that they need to flip Reynolds by the deadline because you're just keeping a great player from going to a good team. So keep Brian Hayes. He is the man. Ben Gamel is a nice player to have. Suzuki is there. But this team just doesn't have much going for them, especially pitching. It's just, there's nothing. There is no pitching on this team. So that's really what's going to be keeping them back right now. And Key Brian Hayes is an absolute stud. There is no debating it. So if you can keep him and you can protect him, then it's going to be big for your team. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Reds being the last place team in this division. I have them going 58-104. Trade away Winker, trade away Suarez, trade away Gray, trade away Castillo. Luis Castillo into the Cubs, forgot to say that. Castellanos walks. Barnhart gets traded. I mean, this team gutted itself. Really, they only kept India and Votto, and it's only a matter of time before they want to be traded because this team is not going to do anything, obviously. Again, an example of the epitome of what the lockout was trying to prevent. It's a shame that teams like this exist, don't want to spend any money. Could have easily kept Castellanos and Winker. They kind of fell apart toward the end of the season. This team was really good first half of the season. Winker was looking like MVP. Castellanos had still a really good year. India, a really good year. Pitching was solid. Gray and Castillo were a great 1-2 punch. But this team just didn't want to pay anybody. They weren't able to bring back Bauer because they don't like to pay anybody. So, just kind of sad to see the Reds fall apart like that. Moving to the last division here today, we got the NL West. I've got the LA Dodgers being our one and only 100-win team. I think that they can go 110-52. I know, it's so facetious and so ambitious, but this team, the Jays are really, I think that the Jays are the next best record that I've got at 97. So is it going to help that they've got two kind of bottom feeder teams that are in their division? Yes, kind of. But this team just is so loaded. Yes, they lost Corey Seager, but it's not like they can't replace him. This team is ridiculous. Let me just let me just go through this lineup for you. If we go to first base, so Max Muncy playing first base. Second base, Chris Taylor. They brought him back. Shortstop. It depends on what you want to do. Probably Trey Turner. Third base, Justin Turner. In the outfield. In left field, yes, they lost A.J. Pollock, so this is much more interesting. And this brings up the discussion of, do you want Gavin Lux to play? If you do, you put him in at second base. You move Chris Taylor to left field. Center field, you're going to have that glove for Cody Bellinger. And in right field, you're going to have Mookie Betts. And when Cody Bellinger is probably going to be your 8-hitter, you know that you're absolutely a ridiculous team. That was the lineup before one Freddie Freeman got brought into the mix and he threw off everything. Freddie Freeman at first. Max Muncy at second. Trey Turner at third. Trey Turner at shortstop. Justin Turner at third. Will Smith behind the dish. Left field, Chris Taylor. Center field, Bellinger. Right field, Betts. A rotation that includes 1. Walker Buehler, Julio Urias, and Clayton Kershaw. A bullpen that now has Craig Kimbrell. This team is ridiculous. And you're telling me that they can't win 110? I think not. This team is going to be ridiculous. I rest my case. Okay. Let's go to the next team before I get carried on. I don't like the Dodgers. Just by the way, I'm not a Dodgers fan. If you can't see, huge Phillies fan, by the way. We go to the next team. I've got the Padres being the second place team, 90-72. Another, that's one of 4 teams at this record. The Padres, they have Tatis, we know. They have Machado, we know. They get rid of Hosmer. They get rid of Pham. Cronenworth is in that infield. And they brought in Luke Voit. So your infield is from right to left. Voit, Cronenworth, Tatis, Machado. The outfield, probably Myers in left. Center field, kind of tough to know what they're going to do, but probably Trent Grisham. And in right field, you've got some decisions to make. We don't really know this one yet. Austin Nola behind the dish. A rotation that's got Snell whenever Clevenger comes back. He was really good in 2020. So Snell, Clevenger, Musgrove, Darvish, a very solid 4. This team loses their all-star reliever in Mark Melancon to a team we're going to be talking about coming up here in a little bit. So they lose some pieces, but mostly they gain pieces. So I think they have the makings of being a 90-win team. Because, boy oh boy, are they a loaded lineup. Next up we have, this is kind of surprising. As I said, this was very statistic driven. So I got the Giants coming up here with an 84-78 record. I don't know. They bring in Evan Longoria, or bring back Evan Longoria. We all know this. They lose Chris Bryant. They lose Kevin Gausman. They were able to bring back Dave Scalfani. But they just lose. They lose a lot of people from this 107-win team from last year, which was crazy. Gabe Kapler was able to work wonders with this team. So, is he going to repeat it? I don't really know. I really don't. 84 is what I've got right now with the players they have there. Pitching's just not strong now that they lost Gausman, their ace. But they bring in Rodon, and that's going to help. So they have a new ace with Rodon. I don't know if it'll be enough. Rodon de Scalfani, it all depends on what your thoughts of Rodon are. I think that he, after he came back from injury, was not as good. I don't know if he should have given the contract that he did, even though it was very, very cheap for what his market value was for the Giants. So it really just all depends on what you think of Rodon. Yastrzemski is going to be in that outfield. You still have Crawford and Belt in the infield. Posey's gone. That was a huge piece. He was really, really good for them last year. As I said, Longoria at third. LaStella, what's he going to do for this team? So really just, they lost a lot, and it's really tough to see them going anywhere again this year. Just a couple of teams left. I've got the Diamondbacks finishing 4th in this division with a 70-92 record. I think this team is a little bit better than everyone thinks. I think they have some pieces. They've got Melancon now, we all know. They've got Bumgarner. They bring in a couple more pieces. Josh Rojas, I think, is very good. I think they have some better pieces. They got Ketel Marte locked up now for 5 years, 7 years, something like that. He got significantly underpaid. And Nick Ahmed is still there. So they have a lot of pieces, a lot of individual pieces. Are they going to be able to bring it all together for really anything? Probably not. 70 wins seems about what their ceiling is. I don't know what their over-under is. Something like 68.5, I think, might be their over-under. I think I'm barely taking the over on that, but I like some players on the Cardinals as the Cardinals. The Diamondbacks, excuse me. Pavin Smith, Dalton Varsho are a couple of nice pieces to have, but better bench pieces than really starters. Our last team, the worst team in the whole entire league of my projections. I got the Rockies 53-win team at 53 and 109 record for this team. It's abysmal. Brought in Chris Bryant, yes, so you're going to have Crone, McMahon, you're going to have Bryant. Randall Grichuk is kind of a sneaky good move for this team. They're in cores, we all know, so they're going to have that advantage offensively, kind of. But the thing is that traveling from out of cores and back into cores, it just gives you a disadvantage, so it's hard to tell. Obviously, lost Story. They lost John Gray, their pitcher. They've got Marquez Senzatella at the top of the rotation, which I don't really like. So they don't want to pay anybody, except for that somehow they paid Bryant. That just doesn't make sense to me for Bryant, and it doesn't make sense to me for the Rockies. So I don't know. That one was a little bit confusing. So that is the projections. If you're on YouTube, you can see the final things. Playoff predictions will be coming out based on these predictions soon in a couple of videos. I hope you guys did enjoy this one. If you're listening on the podcast, or even if you're not, you can become a patron today. I really would appreciate that. Go follow me on Twitter. Century17YT is my username. If you guys want to join the discussion, there's a subreddit. There's also a Discord. All linked in the description or the bio of this episode. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.